Onegaishimasu. And maybe for some of the newer people, we'll just briefly go over some of the phraseology in the Japanese, and for interest of time, maybe we'll just do just maybe one or two terms right now. And there is a handout that lists these words written out, so it's easier to get the sounds in the word when you can see it written out. So when we bow in the opening bow to each other as a group, the word we say is onegai shimasu. So we'll just break that down a bit, and I'll just break that down, and everybody's on mute so no one can hear you. If you want to repeat this on your own with me after I say it, feel free. Very least to kind of break it down verbally so that you get a clear sense of the pronunciation of the word. Not that my pronunciation of Japanese is good, but it will give you an indication. So, onegai shimasu, that means basically, please go ahead. Shall we? Basically, it's please. So, break that down. One, it's O-N-E, and E's are pronounced as A. So, one, gai, shimasu. And if you see the word, there's the U at the end. The typically used are silent. Let's break that down a couple more times. So it's one, gai, shimasu. That's S-H-I. I's are pronounced as E. Shimasu. S-H-I-M-A-S-U. U is silent. S-H-I-M-A-S-U. Shimasu. Once more would be one, gai, shimasu. And then I'll just put that all together. If you want to say it as one full word as well, feel free. Onegai shimasu. Onegai shimasu. Onegai shimasu. So that's what we say as we bow at the beginning. Maybe we'll just bring in one other phrase, and pretty much everybody's familiar with how to say thank you in Japanese, even if you don't speak Japanese. It's quite prevalent in our society. But there's different levels of saying thank you in Japanese. People have heard the word arigato, but that's a very short, that's like saying thanks. So we want to have a more, not just an informal thanks, but a more formal gratitude phrase. Thank you very much. And the phrase that we say is thank you very much for what we have done. Thank you for the class we've had. So we do that at the ending bow. Now, not every class, sometimes we get cut off before we do the ending bow. So it's an opportunity to mention if we get cut off before we can actually get down to Seiza and do our finishing bow, which is the same as our opening bow. It'd be good if you just did the closing bow on your own to the showman wall, to the front wall. So when we do the bow at the end of class, it's domo arigato gozaimashita. So if I just break that down a couple times, domo arigato gozaimashita. So mashita is a past tense. That's thank you for what we've done for the class that we've had. So a couple more times, I'll break that down. Domo arigato gozaimashita. Domo arigato gozaimashita. And then I'll kind of make that bigger chunks. Domo arigato gozaimashita. Domo arigato gozaimashita. And then the whole thing. Domo arigato gozaimashita. Domo arigato gozaimashita. A little background there with the terminology and phraseology. We'll just do a very brief zazen. So the basic technology for our zazen is to clarify our posture and to settle and centralize our breathing. Clarifying, opening, spacifying, being spacious with our body structure, and our breath becomes settled, natural, and free. So our awareness and our intention are working the whole time to continually adjust our posture and to track our breathing and allowing that breathing to be more free. And a good example where intention really does come into it, we have the awareness, we're aware of the breathing. The intention, for example, is to consciously release tension in each other. You just spend a couple moments with that. The hand just rests softly in the lap. Good. We'll slowly come up. Those of you with more experience, you want to have weight underside, maintain weight underside, let the ground push you up. Feet about shoulder width, parallel. Want to make sure the knees are bent. We're going to start with some hip turning, some arm swings, and we want to make sure the knee is bent so the knees are solid and supported. A locked joint is a vulnerable joint. It's easy to twist the knee or strain the knee if it's straight or close to being locked. So you bend them a little bit. That also will pull down the tailbone and lengthen and straighten the lower back. That's also very important to our posture in general, is that lower back is flat, so our spine is straight. Most people, pretty much everybody has a curve here. That's pretty tight. The muscles here become shortened. It's easier to tweak and strain the lower back as well when everything's tight and compacted. So we always want the tailbone pointing towards the ground, and bending the knees a bit will help to pull the tailbone down and tilt the pelvis so that it's straight back here. And we start with just simply weight stays in the middle. We don't shift the weight to start with. And we just turn the hips, kind of like a washing machine action with the hips, and let those arms go. See how soft and released you can be with the arms and shoulders. Remember to release the abdomen consciously. Good. Now see if you can do the same sort of action with a stance and tip the weight forward and back and let the arm swing vertically forward and back. So we're not quite doing Minucci yet. It's still an arm swing. Again, can you just let the weight of the arms pull the shoulders straight down, release the abdomen. And more experienced people, you know, to don't throw your mass around, especially your upper body. Press down into the ground to shift the weight for you. Let the ground move you. Let the ground shift your weight for you by pressing that foot into the ground. Foot pressing down sends you forward. Front foot, press that down, sends you back. And the other side. Sometimes we'll talk about you're dangling from a string. That comes from Tai Chi, actually. It's like a Halloween skeleton. You're just dangling. That helps with that vertical posture and that weight underside. And coming back to about shoulder width. Again, knees a little bit bent. Equal stretch in both arms, equal awareness. Stretch the side open. And stretch to the back corner, equally through both arms. Okay, have a bit of a horse stance. Again, if this is new for you, you may not go all the way. I'm about to sink down and touch the floor with my fingertips and make a circle with my fingertips underneath me and behind me. Now, if this is new, or depending on your flexibility, you might not go all the way to the ground. You might just do it here. But for those of you that know this, you sink down, touch fingertips on the floor, and draw a big circle underneath you and behind you. And then push your hips forward to scoop your arms forward, arch back. Again, how much you arch back depends on your flexibility, your comfort zone. Bring the shoulders back, sink into a horse stance and push the hands forward. Sink further down, head down, draw a circle behind you. Push your hips forward to bring you forward and up. Arch back, nice deep breathing whole time. This is a good place here to breathe out. Sink down, stay low on your hips. Scooping forward, bring the hips forward. Good. Walk your feet in. Roll your shoulders. Roll your shoulders the other way. And roll the chin along the chest. Ear and shoulder. Good. So we'll move right into some program work. Of course, we're going to start with the weight belt, do a few movements, techniques from there, and then move on from there. So we're going to go through this quite quickly. Again, let me know if you have any questions, but we're going to go through these quite quickly because every class we touch upon some of these. So it's not designed that you get everything, you know it, understand it, and you're good at it when you see it, because we'll be touching upon various techniques and various programs every class. So let's start with Hami no Kamai, which is a ready stance. It's a slight forward stance, not too much, and you certainly don't want to lean. But if this is 50% here, slightly forward. Of course, we want the front knee directly over the foot. We don't want the knee inside the foot. That's not good support for the knee. Arms are out, just like you're holding a sword or a jo. That, in fact, informs our ready stance. So just like the sword, our fingertips, which is our own sword tips, are angled up. Remember how I held that sword? Notice the tip of the sword, angled up slightly. In fact, in our sword work, this is called seigan. Sword tip is slightly up. This is the elbow, the butt end is the elbow. The blade is our edge of our forearms. So fingertips are angled up, but again, experienced people, you want to do that by rolling the elbows forward. Rolling the elbows, so senpai, you want all the senpai. You want to be rolling the elbows forward. That pulls down the shoulders and raises the tips. Basic Hami no Kamai. We switch by back foot comes up, front foot comes back. Back foot comes up, front foot goes back, and that's what switches your arms. Your arms do not do it. Your legs are switching. You're angled a little bit on the half body. And we touched upon just the other class that we don't want to bob up and down, because then your balance is compromised and it's easier to track you, easier to see you. Keep your knees bent, keep your weight low, stable. The senpai, more experienced people, you do that not just by keeping your knees bent, but by a more organic, dynamic action. That is that your hips are always hanging, or the dangling Halloween skeleton. Gravity is always working through your vertical posture. Gravity is always sinking down through you. That's why you stay stable and low. Okay, now we're going to move into basic footwork. Iramitsugiyashi. That's our Hami no Kamai. That's our basic template. That's where we start from. Footwork is going to be getting offline, getting out of the way. Front foot comes off line, and we turn 45 degrees. Keep the weight in that forward leg. So I don't want to drift back, at least not right now. Forward stance is our primary focus. Arms just basically stay here, covering center line. Experienced people, senpai, Not only are you protecting center line, you are issuing out from center line, just like a sword. My energy, my mind is flowing out through the sword tip, right from my center line. So senpai, your energy, you're not only protecting your center line, that's also where your power comes from, your center line. See that triangulation? Here's an example of not triangulating or not coming from my center line. It's disjointed, unintegrated, it's emanating from your center line. Defensively, we want to protect our center line, groin, throat, eyes, solar plexus. So we're protecting our center line, but also our power is issued from our center line. So as you do this basic movement, keep aware of center line, both in terms of covering it, but also issuing from it. Also, senpai, with all that forward attitude I just talked about, make sure it doesn't pull you forward from here. Pulls you forward from your hips. So watch out for any leaning. Hips are always under the head. Offline, 45-degree turn, stays in your front leg. Okay, so that's each. Knee. Top. Sheet. Go. Okay, all experienced people, you guys are looking good. Everybody's looking good. Okay, let's do the other side. So right side, right is Migi. Migi Hanmi. So right foot offline, turning 45 degrees. Now, experienced people, senpai, when you come offline, you shouldn't be focused on the same place you were when you started, which is right ahead, way ahead here. The attacker or the object is moving. So now it's here, not there. So if I maybe do it to the camera, it might be easier to see. So of course, when I start, my attention, I'm flowing here. Something's coming towards me here, or potentially coming towards me. So when I come offline, to get it, and Marlene, we call it getting offline, simply is getting out of the way. So I get offline with this basic footwork, but I'm not still focused there unless that person or object hasn't moved at all, then I would be focused there. But if they haven't moved at all, why would I move? If it's coming towards me, I get offline and now it's here. And maybe either continuing past me or turning to come towards me. Then I can do another movement. So all the experienced people, including Breton, when you come offline, your focus shouldn't be where it was at the very beginning, which is straight forward in front of you. It's now here. It's still straight forward in front of you, but at this angle, because the object or person has come in. Hopefully that makes sense. So if I kind of exaggerate, as that comes in, my attention is here with it. Not in a dead way, the same place that I started with. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have a question with that. So my attention should be here and continuing if it continues to move. Each. Knee. Stop. Sheet. Go. Rope. Good. Okay. Again, senpai, you guys, everybody's looking really, really, really sharp. Let's go back where we started. Left foot forward. Left is hidari. Right is migi. Migi. Hidari is left. Same movement. Irimi sugiashi. Why don't we come towards the camera? Most of you have experienced this before. I come towards the camera. I'm your partner, the attacker partner. And so now you have to use the concept of timing. We're bringing in another dimension, timing. So imagine it's real, coming out of the screen towards you. It's kind of surprising that you could, the brain can really make that work for you to make it real. I'm gonna come really slow, at least to start with. So you try to time it, you come offline, then if this is new for you, the timing is you want to move at the last moment. If you move too soon, the attacker can adjust and find you. We call it tracking. So if there's someone in front of me, if I'm the attacker and they move too soon, I can just track them. I can adjust them. So you want to move at the last moment. Of course, you don't want to move too late because then you have a collision or they have you. Kind of like threading a needle. You have to just, it's very, very fine. Okay, so you're going to come offline at the last moment, keeping your structure at the end. Here we go. Try to time it. That's right. Yeah, that's good timing, Mike. Excellent. Let's do Migi on me, right side, right leg offline, turn. So one thing you want to try to do, so Marlene, you're doing something that everybody does, it's totally normal. When you come offline, you're shrinking in. And that's totally normal. Come offline, you pull in. And that's one of the big things that we all have to train. That's a huge part of the training, is to do opposite of what's normal. It'd be like if I have a sword and I have to move, I scrunch in. That's not going to serve me very well. I want to keep my extension. Even if I have to move, I don't want to move and pull in because now they can enter my space. So that's a huge part of the training, and it takes pure training to change that. It's totally natural to pull in. We want to keep it out. In kids class, we talk about keeping our personal space, keeping our personal bubble big. Personal bubble is big and sharp. We don't want the personal space to collapse because then they can come into our personal space. So no matter, even if I'm moving backwards, I keep my extension. And that's why a little bit later on, we actually move backwards. And the main reason for doing that technique, that movement, is to learn to keep that extension, keep your personal space big, no matter what direction you move in. Because what is normal to happen is this, right? You might start with good extension and good focus. You start moving back, this happens, right? The mind and the body collapses and constricts. So it takes training to keep it out there, even as we move back or any direction we move in. So it's training the mind and therefore the body to stay extended and open. We call it key flow, sending the mind out, strong key flow, strong mental outward flow. Okay, so right foot forward, come offline. As you move, keep your outward flow. Keep your mental outward flow. So, senpai, all the experienced people, your training is a little bit more subtle because I'm seeing all the senpai. The reason why I've been saying so far, you guys are looking really, really good because I'm seeing everybody keeping your structure. All the experienced people are keeping your extension, keeping your good posture, keeping that extension out there. Everybody's looking really sharp with that. So what I'm asking you now is to get more refined with your awareness. Maybe your body isn't adjusting. Maybe your body's staying out there pretty good. But is your mind or feeling coming in a little bit? As you get offline, are you shirking in energetically, emotionally, mentally? That's what you have to start to sense more deeply and more finely. Maybe there's a little part of you that's going, but you're still able to keep your body out. So think your awareness in your body, develop that awareness, and notice if there's any pulling in, jerking in, maybe not physically or not much, energetically, mentally. So then your training is to fill in those spaces so your energy doesn't collapse. If anything, it only gets bigger. Any movement you do, your energy only gets bigger. It only extends out more. Even if you have to move back, if I move back, my energy just gets bigger. So that's for the more experienced people to work on. Notice if there's any shirking in. You notice that'll really change your feeling, your body, if energetically you can keep it flowing out, strong outflow. Good. Now we also have Irimi Agniashi. So Sugiashi is the front foot moving. Irimi Sugiashi is the front foot moving first. Now we're doing Irimi Ayumiashi. Ayumiashi is the back foot moving offline. Front foot comes back. Back foot comes offline. Front foot comes back 45 degrees. And the arms change only because of the feet. Switching of the legs, switch of the arms. So let's do a few of those. Starting with Migi Hanmi, right leg forward. Left leg comes offline. Right leg comes back. You turn 45 degrees. Again, more experienced people, your focus should have moved with the incoming force. Let's do that in 2 counts, just 2 steps. 1, 2, still in a forward stance, left leg. Each knee. Each knee. Each knee. Let's do the other side, starting with Hidari. Hidari, Hanmi. Right leg comes offline. Left leg comes back 45 degrees. Check to make sure your right knee is still a little bit bent. You're a little bit into the right leg because we want to maintain a forward stance. Strong outward flow. Strong forward ki extension keeps you in a forward stance and keeps the arms out. So our shape, our structure is made by our intentional current, our intentional flowing focus. The left leg forward, back foot offline, front foot comes back. Each knee, weights in the right leg. Weights in the left leg to start with. Each knee, weights in the right leg. Finish. Each knee. Each knee. Each knee. Okay, let's go back to Migi Hanmi. Same thing. Back foot comes up. Front foot comes back. Hear me on the edge again and come towards the camera. Keep your forward flow. Notice if you shirk in, even just mentally, or your energy bubble, your energy field shrinks in a little bit. Send it out the other way. Okay, that's all good timing, you guys. Very good. I'm gonna change the speed a little bit. See if that affects your emotions, your emotional energy, your energy ball. Does that cause you to shrink in? You can send it the other direction. You can send it out again. Very good. Yeah, excellent. Okay, let's do a couple on the other side. So left leg forward, right leg comes offline, left leg comes back. Here comes a little more serious attack, maybe. Good. Okay. Hami no Kamai. Shomanuchi. Actually, we'll do this Yokomanuchi. We did Shomanuchi very recently. In fact, last night. It starts the same as Shomanuchi. Shomanuchi is strike to the front, Yokomen is on the side, slight angle, about 30 degrees. Comes up just like Shoman, from the back leg through the hip, drives the elbow up, other hand stays viable and active. As you drop down, turn that front foot ever so slightly. That front foot turns slight angle. That's why it comes at a slight angle. Okay, senpai, my yokomen doesn't happen because I'm doing that with the arm from here, from here. There I'm doing it just from my arm. I want to do it because not only my upper body is turning, but even more fundamental, primary, is I'm just turning my foot ever so slightly. So the whole body has a slight angle. That's the only reason why this changes. Otherwise, it's just the arm making an angle. It's my whole body having a slight angle, by having that foot come down at a slight angle. And that's why the arm appears to be having a slight angle. So everything stays connected, interconnected, integrated. Not coming from the arm, it's the step and angle of the body. So straight up, that comes from the back hip, back leg. Turn that front foot tiny bit, and you're a slight angle now. Breathe in, breathe out as you cut. Let's try a few on the other side. So you want to come right up center line. That's from the hip turning. Other hand stays alive. As you step, slight angle with that foot. That turns the body at a slight angle, and the arm is just true to the body. This is too far, right? You're open, exposed. So just past the target. When you finish, check out this hand and this arm. See, this is too collapsed. It's too neutral or dead. It should be just as alive, just as active. So at the end, it's ready. Defensively ready, offensively ready. So at the end, check where this other arm is. Is it too close? Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Sugiyashi. Sugiyashi. Yokonuchi. That's going to be the front arm. Each. This is the seventh cue. Di. San. Migi hanmi. Irimi sugiyashi. Irimi sugiyashi. Yokonuchi with the front arm. Each. Knee. Check your other arm. Both are active. San. Good. Light horse stance. Let gravity work through your vertical structure. Centered below the navel. Stand out from the navel. Breathe out. Settle back to home base. Let the weight gather in your feet. Let your upper body be very open and spacious. Settling on the out breath. Standing out. Settling back. The mind leads everything. Mind leads the way. Intention leads the way. And settling. Okay, let's bow out.